Now let's you and I take a look at some limitations that you have to observe when you're flying the airplane, things you have to be careful of. For instance, one of the things you have to be careful of is don't put this landing gear down when the airplane's flying too fast. It's bad on the landing gear doors, bad on the landing gear itself. There is a speed you need to know about that, and that is called VLE. It's normal to abbreviate these speeds, and that's maximum speed that the landing gear can be extended. These are called V speeds. V stands for the velocity of the airplane. VLE is the maximum speed you can fly with the landing gear extended. Now, you would look up this speed normally in the airplane flight manual and see what the airplane flight manual says is the VLE of this airplane. The FAA wants you to know VLE stands for the maximum speed you can fly with the landing gear extended. Now let's assume you're taking off in an airplane, and as you take off, you'd like to clear a 50-foot obstacle. How could you have an airport without a 50-foot obstacle? Well, if you want to take off and clear an obstacle, what you want to do is climb at the airspeed that gives you the greatest gain in altitude in the shortest distance during takeoff. That's called the best angle of climb speed. There is a V speed for that, and that is called VX. That's just an abbreviation for the best angle of climb speed, and that's the best altitude over distance, VX. And you can see right here that yes, indeed, you would like to climb at the best altitude over distance over the ground. But what if you want to get the most altitude you can get over time? Well, then you would want to climb at the best rate of climb speed, and that has an abbreviation also. An abbreviation for best rate of climb speed, a V speed for it, is VY. That's the best speed, best altitude over time. That's called best rate of climb, and that's VY. X is angle mathematically almost all the time, and Y is over time. When you're flying in turbulence like this, another speed you need to know about is maneuvering speed. Now, maneuvering speed is an important airspeed limitation that is not color-coded on airspeed indicators. Where do you find maneuver speed? It's placarded on the panel of the aircraft, or it's in the airplane flight manual, but it's not shown on the airspeed indicator. Now, in severe turbulence, you'd like to reduce the airplane to maneuver speed or below. Why? Well, maneuver speed is the maximum speed at which you can reach forward, grab the wheel, jerk it back in your lap as hard as you want, and not cause structural damage to the aircraft. Scare the daylights out of everybody on board the airplane, but it will not cause structural damage to the aircraft. And the reason for that is if you can hold the airplane to maneuver speed or below, the airplane will stall before the wings become damaged. So maneuver speed is a speed you would like to slow the airplane to if you get into turbulence. In severe turbulence then, the airplane speed should be reduced to maneuvering speed or slightly below. Now, the way you really do this in real life is you set up a power setting that you know will get you maneuver speed or slightly below. Then you maintain level flight attitude and you allow minor variations in airspeed and altitude. You do not want to chase the airspeed. And the reason for that is when an airplane's wings come off while flying in severe turbulence, 9 times out of 10, it's not the turbulence that tears the wings off the airplane. It's the pilot that tears the wings off the airplane by having the nose get down and pulls back on the wheel and tears the wings and tail off the airplane. So if you get into severe turbulence, what you want to do is set up a power setting that you know will get you maneuver speed or slightly below. Then maintain level flight attitude and allow minor variations in airspeed and altitude. Let's you and I take a look at figure 4 back in the back of the book, and what I want to show you here is an airspeed indicator. And what I want to point out is that on the airspeed indicator there are colored arcs or markings that give you some of the operating limitations of the aircraft. For instance, there is the white arc, and the white arc is the flap operating range. In this case it's about 60 to 100 miles per hour, and the white arc starts at the bottom at power off stalling speed with the flaps and landing gear in the landing position. By the way, there's a V speed for that, and that's called VSO. That's velocity of stall in the landing position for landing gear and flaps. And it's also defined as stalling or minimum steady flight speed in the landing configuration. Minimum steady flight speed. That's stalling speed in landing configuration. That's VSO. So the white arc starts here at power off stalling speed with the flaps and landing gear in the landing position, and then it goes on up up to the maximum speed you can fly with the flaps extended. And that's referred to as VFE, velocity flaps extended. And that's the top of the wide arc, the maximum speed you can fly with the flaps extended. It's about 100 in this particular case. And that's the maximum flaps extended speed. And now we have the wide arc. All right, that's the flap operating range. Let's you and I take a look at the green arc. Now, the green arc is referred to as the normal operating range, and it begins at the bottom with power off stalling speed with the flaps and landing gear in the retracted position this particular time. And so this is gear and flaps up, stalling speed, the bottom of the green arc. And this green arc or normal operating range goes on up here in this particular case until you get to maximum structural cruising speed. Now, maximum structural cruising speed is a speed above which anything more than light turbulence could cause structural damage to the aircraft. So this is called the normal operating range right here, and it goes from, once again, the bottom of the green arc, which is stalling speed with the gear and flaps up, to maximum structural cruising speed, the speed above which anything more than light turbulence could cause structural damage to the aircraft. Now, speeds above maximum structural cruising speed are shown on the airspeed indicator by the yellow arc, and that's the caution range. And the caution range begins at maximum structural cruising speed. In this particular case, it's about 165, and it goes up to what is known as the red radial line right here, and that is never exceed speed. In this particular case, it's about 208. And VNE is the abbreviation for never exceed speed, velocity never exceed. Now, never exceed speed is the maximum speed the airplane can be flown even in calm air. But if you do have the courage for that sort of thing, you can, in perfectly calm air, take the airplane right up to redline. So you see that these colored arcs and markings on the airspeed indicator have a great deal of meaning to you, and they tell you, in this particular case, the operating limitations of the aircraft.